I got first place in my class and my parents finally agreed to go with me for a heart checkup. It was pouring outside. After waiting for 3 hours, I still couldn't get through to their phones. I waded through the water to the bus stop and went to the hospital alone. Then I got a short message from my parents. "We have something urgent to handle." I turned to see my cousin Paige's new post on social media. The picture showed two familiar figures busy cooking. The caption read, "My uncle and aunt are the best." I said I couldn't make noodles and they came over to cook for me. I might have thrown a fit about this before, but now I lay in my hospital bed, calmly swallowing a bite of cold takeout, and I commented, "Why call them uncle and aunt? Just call them mom and dad." Later, I packed up my stuff and headed abroad to start a new life. My parents, though, freaked out. Today was supposed to be the day my parents promised to accompany me for my heart checkup, but it started raining heavily. I waited from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. until the water reached my ankles, but I still couldn't reach my parents. Soaking wet, I couldn't wait much longer. I gritted my teeth and went to the bus stop alone through the water. As I swiped my card to get on the bus, a notification popped up. It was from a post by my cousin Paige. She showed off my parents wearing aprons with little butter bear patterns, cooking for her. What a cozy family scene. Her caption read, "My uncle and aunt are the best. They rushed over to make me food when I said I couldn't cook noodles. I'm the luckiest girl in the world." I remembered when I had a high fever and asked my parents to make me a bowl of plain noodles. They were so impatient. "Can't you order takeout? Don't you know how busy we are? Is such a small thing worth bothering us for?" Back then, I naively believed they were just really busy and stopped asking them for help. When I got first place in my class, my parents said they'd grant me one wish. I thought long and hard and then cautiously asked if they could accompany me for my heart checkup the day after tomorrow. They agreed immediately. I was really looking forward to that day. But now, just because of one comment from Paige, they dropped me to spend 3 hours making her a meal. 3 hours of cold wind and rain chilled my heart so much that I didn't have the energy to question them. I still had to get to the hospital, so I quickly commented on her post, "Don't call them uncle and aunt, call them mom and dad." Then I shut my phone, bounced around on the bus, and finally reached the hospital. Paige is my cousin. Her parents died when she was young. My parents pitied her and brought her to live with us. Back then, I was really glad to have a little sister for company. But Paige always wanted to take my things, my toys, my room, even my parents. My parents often turned a blind eye. They'd say, "Paige doesn't have parents anymore. Can't we give her a little more love? Don't be so petty." Under prolonged stress, I developed heart disease, needing regular meds and checkups. My parents thought I was faking it, saying I was too young to compete for their attention. No matter what I did, they always favored Paige. It was like I was an orphan myself. I had to study on my own, cook for myself, and go to the hospital alone. I threw fits, hoping for a bit more love from them. Instead, they publicly scolded me for being so petty and manipulative, saying I couldn't stand my sister. Many times I doubted myself, wondering if I did something wrong. But seeing other parents comforting their kids in the hospital, I got my answer. Some parents really do love their kids that much. I was just unlucky. After being out in the cold rain, my head throbbed horribly. I looked pale as a sheet, almost fainting. A nurse noticed my condition and quickly got me a room. Lying in the hospital bed, I finally caught my breath. Then my phone started ringing like crazy. As soon as I answered, Mom launched into a tirade. "Tiffany, what did you mean by commenting that for your sister? Don't you know she lost her parents young? How could you be so small-minded and provoke her like that?" Paige hadn't eaten all day. She was trying to make noodles and burned her hand, so we came back to make food for her. "You're not dying. You fake being sick all the time to manipulate us into caring for you. We've never lacked giving you anything. How did I end up with such a petty, jealous daughter?" Suddenly, I felt like arguing didn't make any sense anymore. In their eyes, I was always just being defensive and making a fuss for attention. After 3 hours of heavy rain, I couldn't reach them once. But now, just one comment, and in less than half an hour, they were concerned enough to defend my cousin. Did they ever worry about me having a heart attack? I didn't care to know anymore. Seeing no response from me, Mom continued, sounding like she'd won a victory. "Not speaking? Feeling shortchanged again? Need me to apologize?" Her words got nastier and nastier. I simply hung up and sent them the statement for my hospital fees. After a while, Dad messaged me, "Tiffany, it's not like your mom means it that way. You're grown now, you should learn to be independent. Seeing the doctor alone is the first step. You're doing great now. Paige is your sister too. She needs us, as you know. You understand, right? When you're extremely hurt, your emotions become eerily calm." I replied simply, "I know." Dad seemed relieved, sensing perhaps it wasn't entirely fair to me. In a rare gesture, he tried to lighten the mood. "Here's $1,000. Use it to pay for your hospital bill. Take good care of yourself. I'll bring you food later. Let's not bicker anymore, we're all family." In the past, I would have been really happy. But now I'm just calm and said thanks. They always do that, hitting me with a stick and then giving me a carrot, keeping me clinging to a love that's barely there. But now I don't want their love or them. I've realized that I'm better off not expecting anything from them. Laying in a hospital bed that smells like disinfectant, I was so hungry my stomach felt numb. I waited until 2 in the afternoon for someone to bring food, but no one did. So I forced myself to order takeout. Watching the rain outside, I texted my parents. "I ordered food, no need to bring anything." Paige started crying on the other end. "Sorry sis, it'd be better if I wasn't around. I'm the reason they're busy, don't be mad at them. They're on their way as soon as they're done eating with me. Can you hold on a bit longer?" I was too numb to get what she meant. The next second, my mom called, furious. "What do you mean? I said I'd bring you food. Why are you acting like a victim? You want everyone to think we're bad to you? Enough with this nonsense. We've done enough as your parents. Why aren't you grateful? Paige cried because of you, go apologize." I sighed and calmly replied, "I'm not angry or trying to act pitiful. Look, my delivery arrived and I just didn't want you to make an unnecessary trip." I sent her a picture of my rain-soaked takeout. Mom went silent. Then she transferred me some money saying, "Get something nice, as if we treat you poorly." I didn't reply. I swallowed my cold takeout, fighting the nausea. After eating, all I wanted was to rest. Worrying about too much is pointless. For 2 weeks while in the hospital for a checkup, I dragged my weak body and heavy 4-pole across half the hospital, from the ward to the pharmacy. I got really good at it. My doctor suggested my parents should explore medical options abroad where treatment would be better. This couldn't wait. As my guardians, my parents needed to be informed. But I just smiled and said, "I'm an adult now, I can handle it myself." I signed the forms with composure. In that moment, I was thankful to be an adult. At 18, it was time to start my own life, not be stuck in family drama. 2 weeks later, I flew abroad for treatment. I didn't bother telling my parents because I figured they wouldn't care anyway. When I got home after recovering, it was all quiet. As expected, they were probably with Paige. I didn't bother asking. Being alone was fine. I wanted something to eat, but the fridge was filled with Paige's favorites. I noticed some expired milk, tossed it out, swallowed my meds, and went upstairs to sleep. The sound of laughter woke me up. Downstairs, Paige and my parents were chatting, surrounded by new clothes and jewelry for her. Seeing me, my parents seemed surprised, scanning me up and down like they'd never seen me before. Paige, with fake concern, asked, "When did you get out of the hospital? Why didn't you let Mom and Dad pick you up? Are you still mad?" I gave her a polite smile. "I saw you were busy, so I came home by myself. I think it's time I learned to be independent." Mom's smile froze. Before, I'd throw a fit to go whenever they took Paige out. Now my calmness made them uneasy. Mom stood up eager. "How was the hospital? We've been too busy to visit you. It's good you're back. There's chicken soup in the fridge, let me heat it for you." She opened the fridge, face darkening. "Did you drink Paige's milk?" Only then did I realize the misunderstanding. Paige was malnourished when brought home, so they insisted she have fresh milk every morning. I only got regular milk. I replied lightly it expired, so I tossed it. Mom started yelling, "Liar. Paige's milk is fresh daily, how could it expire? You must have drunk it. Why are you so greedy? Is regular milk not good enough? Why do you have to ruin the mood as soon as you get home? How did I end up with such a petty daughter? Why's your heart so vicious?" Paige rushed to beg on my behalf. "Auntie, Tiffany didn't mean it, don't be mad. If she wants, she can have my milk." Mom's anger grew. I sighed, retrieved the spoiled, curdled milk from the trash and said I wasn't lying. "Can this prove I'm truthful? I'm tired, I just want to rest." I won't touch anything that's not mine from now on. Mom, seeing my exhaustion, surprisingly said, "It's fine, it's not a big deal. Don't say that, this is your home too." I grunted in acknowledgement and went upstairs. After a bit, there was a knock at my door. I opened the door to find my dad standing there with a warm bowl of chicken soup, an apologetic look on his face. "I'm sorry, your mom and I misunderstood you. Please don't be mad at us. This is chicken soup your mom made for you. Drink it while it's hot." Mom peeked from behind, looking like she wanted to say something. But honestly, I wasn't in the mood to figure out what their expressions meant. I was exhausted and waved it off. "I'm sick. Can't eat greasy stuff like this. It'll just go to waste. Give it to Paige instead." A simple sentence, but it made Dad's eyes well up. I didn't feel like comforting him, so I closed the door and went back to sleep. I slept well for once. They didn't bother me. When I went downstairs to grab something to eat, I was surprised to find them waiting for me. As soon as I showed up, Dad pulled me to sit down. "We haven't had a meal together in a while. These are all your favorites. Dig in." At the table, Mom kept piling shrimp and meat onto my plate, but I didn't touch any of it. Paige chimed in all smug. "Aunt and Uncle sure care about you a lot, cousin. As soon as you arrive, it's like they forget about me. So much meat, I never get this. I guess when you have parents, you have someone to spoil you." Mom's face went pale when she heard Paige's words. She turned to me, not happy at all. "I made you chicken soup and all this good food. What more do you want?"
Eva apologized.
"I care about you and I'm trying my best to make it up to you. Why can't we just let bygones be bygones and move on? Why all this drama?" I didn't panic like I used to when Mom got mad and just calmly explained, "I've just recovered from a major illness. I can't eat this kind of food. I explained it at the start, but you didn't listen. I really can't eat it and it's not what I need." Mom was left speechless, stunned. Paige suddenly started crying. "Sis, are you upset because of me? Uncle and Auntie do love you. They just show it wrong. Don't be mad at them, okay? If you don't like me, I'll leave and never come back to your home." She went to get up. After hearing Paige's words, Mom's face turned even colder and angrier. "Don't mind her, she's ungrateful. We raised her, and she's still not satisfied. I see you as my own daughter. You're part of this family, and she doesn't get to decide what happens here." I didn't want to hear any more of their nonsense. I put down my chopsticks and nodded lightly. I finished eating. "You all carry on." Then I went back upstairs. Behind me, I could hear Mom's unfiltered rant. How did I raise such a rude daughter? I regret having her. Paige pretended to comfort. "Auntie, don't be mad, I'm here for you." I didn't look back. Paige's little manipulations don't work on me anymore. I've decided I want nothing from this house or these people. My parents seemed upset with me for not appreciating them. For days, they ignored me but took Paige to aquariums and amusement parks. It didn't bother me. Even when I used to get top grades, I'd beg them to go and they never agreed. After barely surviving the hospital, I went to the aquarium alone and fulfilled my dream all on my own. Since no one loves me, I'll just focus on loving myself. While they played, I threw myself into learning English and could now speak fluently with foreigners. The day to leave for studying abroad is almost here. I sat by the window looking at the bright moon, eagerly waiting for that day to come. 3 days later, the folks came home with Paige. She was in a pretty princess dress holding a toy bunny. Looked like they went to Disney. Seeing me, Mom looked a bit uneasy. "How's your health? Been taking your medicine on time?" I nodded, "All good. Is there anything else?" "I've got to study." My parents froze. They thought I'd ponder over my mistakes after their days of ignoring me. I didn't care about their reaction. It was Dad who nudged Mom to snap her out of it. Mom then took out a shopping bag from behind her, showing me a dress. "Tiffany, take a look and see if you like this dress. Picked it out just for you." Mom was kindly holding up the dress against me, checking the fit, but I just glanced at it and said calmly, "This dress is too big. I can't wear it." Mom was in disbelief. "How could that be? The dress fits Paige perfectly. How could it be too big on you?" Turns out it was something Paige didn't want. Mom insisted I try it on anyway. Only when she saw the oversized neckline and waist did she realize how long it had been since she took me shopping or bought me new clothes. Mom had tears in her eyes. "How did you get so thin?" Their faces looked a mix of pain and regret. Paige then piped up with a sly look. Sis, you're thin like I used to be. From now on all my stuff will be yours. Sis, you have to get your health back. Otherwise Uncle and Auntie will be heartbroken. She started to cry again. I used to be hungry because no one cared for me. Sis, you're lucky to have such good parents. Why aren't you taking care of yourself? I ignored her theatrics, went to my room and shut the door. Great, you can have my parents now. Consider yourselves a happy family. Paige choked up, then cried even harder. Why do you keep reminding me about not having parents in such a hurtful way? My parents rushed to comfort her clumsily. I ignored the noise outside, put on my headphones and started memorizing vocabulary. After my outburst, Paige had an apparent psychological breakdown and was hospitalized. The diagnosis was severe depression. My parents have been by her side these last few days. While I was sitting on the couch practicing pronunciation from a video, the door opened. It was Mom. Her shirt collar was soaked with sweat. Clearly, she was in a hurry. I noticed her eyes on the milk I had set aside and casually said, "That's pure milk." Paige's was delivered in the morning and put in the fridge. My mom looked embarrassed, shaking her hands trying to explain, "That's not what I meant." She quickly went upstairs to pack some clothes for Paige and told me, Paige has been hit hard by her parents passing. She needs to be in the hospital for therapy. Don't upset her. Be a good sister when she gets out. As she said this, she reached to throw away the fried rice on my table. Eat less junk food. It's not like we can't afford better takeout. When you're alone at home, get yourself some chicken soup or duck soup to stay healthy. Look how thin you've become. Finally, she noticed my hand wrapped in a bandage. What happened here? Mom looked worried, holding my hand, her words full of blame. I haven't been gone long, and you've already hurt yourself. Why do you always make me worry? Let me get the first aid kit and re-bandage you. With how clumsy you are, I'm sure you did a poor job treating it. I awkwardly pulled my hand away, my expression saying no thanks. It's nothing serious. She wanted to argue, but Paige's call interrupted. It was the first time I saw my mom look annoyed with Paige. You should go. Paige probably needs help more, I said. Mom's expression softened. She sighed and said, I've grown up and become mature. She tried to pat my head, but I dodged it. I just washed my hair. Mom awkwardly withdrew her hand. Well, I'm leaving then. I ignored her. To my mom, my lack of competitiveness meant maturity, not realizing they themselves had stifled a daughter who once had only them in her heart. Just then my phone buzzed like crazy with a message from Paige. I've been in the hospital all this time, and Aunt and Uncle are always by my side. Don't you feel sorry for yourself? I turned off my phone, deciding not to respond. Paige had wormed her way into my mom's life like a persistent adhesive, and didn't forget to sweet-talk my dad. Uncle, I want spicy chicken tonight. It's what I missed most while away. Dad was about to agree but glanced at me on the sofa. Tiffany, anything in particular you want? I'll pick it up. I replied casually, anything's fine. Dad smiled contentedly, agreeing with what Mom had said. To them, Paige's condition had somehow matured me, and I started acting like a real sister. Paige showed off various souvenirs from her trip. Look, sister, this tie-dye dress is so pretty. Aunt made it for me. And this lacquered fan Uncle crafted. Doesn't it match the dress perfectly? I didn't bother looking and just nodded. I was leaving soon after all, and Paige in my eyes was just a clown. Paige grew upset at my indifferent response, expecting me to burst into anger or at least get upset. Her expression turned nasty. She pouted, squeezed out a couple of tears, and complained, Uncle, Aunt, does my sister still hate me? I just wanted to share my happiness with her. Maybe I shouldn't have come home with you guys, but I just want loving parents. I gave a cold laugh. Without parents? Please, you're surrounded by them. What else do you need? Paige was taken aback, clutching her chest and claiming discomfort. Mom and Dad didn't seem fazed this time. Maybe they were used to my heart issues or embarrassed by Paige's exaggerated act. They calmly gave her medicine and comforted her, but still scolded me for being sarcastic. I shrugged and made my way upstairs with my tablet, only coming down for dinner. The table was full of spicy dishes, yet Mom still made chicken soup for me. Paige had returned to normal but looked gloomy. I knew why she was upset. She was jealous of the attention from Mom and Dad. I stayed alert, not wanting her to suddenly have another episode near me. Dad handed out freshly cut imported fruits to both Paige and me. Paige, acting precious because of her so-called illness, pouted, "Didn't you promise to buy special fruits just for me? Why are they the same as my cousins?" Dad, always the peacekeeper, gave Paige a spoonful of spicy chicken. "You both have imported fruits. You are both my good kids. Try the chicken and see if it tastes the same." Paige, of course, didn't let it go and turned her attention to my mom. "Auntie, I want fish, but I can't reach it." Mom lovingly deboned the fish and put it in Paige's bowl. "Also need drumsticks." Okay, whatever you want." After both drumsticks ended up in Paige's bowl, Mom remembered the chicken soup meant for me. "Here, Tiffany, try this soup I made." Just as I reached for it, I noticed Paige's mischievous look. She clutched her chest and leaned to the side, attempting to spill the soup all over me. But I was ready, moving slightly aside as she hit the floor, her head making a loud thud. Mom and Dad rushed over, setting aside their bowls to check Paige's condition, trying to calm her with ointment. Mom suggested taking her to the hospital, but Paige immediately refused.
I'm fine, aunt.
I just had a headache and lost my balance. It's not my cousin's fault. I calmly sipped my soup, the taste hitting familiar notes, but it no longer stirred any emotion within me. Paige said that because she wanted to stay home and keep an eye on me, worried that Mom and Dad might start giving me more attention again. I mean, really, I'm the one with a heart condition. If I had picked you up just now and something happened, I'd be the one getting hurt. Mom was immediately upset. "Tiffany, why do you always have to talk about death? Have we wronged you or something? Do you really want to die that badly? Have I not warned you to speak properly and not be sarcastic? Don't you understand plain language?" Paige shot me a triumphant look. But Mom's tone shifted as she addressed Paige for the first time. "Paige, you're old enough now. Tiffany can't always be looking out for you. If you have anything going on, just talk to your uncle and aunt, okay?" Paige's expression turned sour. Back at the table, my mom gave me another chicken wing. "Tiffany, Paige is still young, so you should be a little more patient with her. Chicken wings are quite tasty. Try some." I responded indifferently, just watching the scene like an outsider. Dad gave Mom a look, unhappy she wasn't being fair. So he picked up another chicken wing and placed it in my bowl. "Tiffany, have another chicken wing. Good things come in pairs, you know." But I still didn't respond. They didn't realize until I put down my chopsticks that I barely touched the chicken wings. Mom was about to ask why when the doorbell rang. My fried chicken delivery had arrived. Mom's anger rose with each passing moment. "Tiffany, I put this food on your plate out of kindness and you wouldn't eat it. But then you ordered junk food, what does that mean?" When I stayed quiet, Mom started lamenting about how tiring these years had been for her. When she got emotional enough, she even raised a hand to hit me. That's when I finally looked up. "While you were traveling for the past month, I became pretty friendly with all the neighborhood restaurant owners. Mondays are noodle days, Tuesdays are fried rice days, Wednesdays are for spicy hot pot, Thursdays for fried chicken, and Fridays for rice bowls. And today just happens to be Thursday. That big order of fried chicken is all mine. Why can't I eat it?" Mom was taken aback by my question, her gaze shifting evasively until she noticed Paige's barely touched chicken leg. "Don't worry. Paige hates chicken legs more than anything, so this junk food isn't going anywhere near her." Noticing the shift in situation, Paige started her usual act of clutching her chest, pretending to be in pain. And that's how this issue got brushed aside. When news spread that I was going abroad, the restaurant owners all lamented about losing their loyal customer. One even offered a vacuum-sealed option for me to take overseas. I was touched just a moment ago, but then I heard a loud banging on my door. Dad stormed in, his eyes red, demanding to know why I hadn't told them about studying abroad. Turns out they found out from the delivery guy. "Tiffany, how long were you planning to keep this a secret? Do you even see us as your parents?" I shot back, "When did you ever ask? Ever showed you cared? Weren't you the one who told me to be independent and not to bother you?" Dad was clutching his chest, trying to calm himself while Mom just joined the scene. "Tiffany, I raised you myself. How can you just leave us and go abroad?" Paige clung to Mom, crying in a way that was over the top, but her eyes were filled with excitement. "You have Paige with you, your lives won't change much." Hearing this, Mom wailed even harder, patting her thigh dramatically. "But you're our real daughter." Paige gradually let go of Mom's hand, Then it dawned on Mom what she had just said. Paige, let your aunt explain. That's not what I meant. Paige shook her head and backed away as Mom, hands clasped in plea, stepped closer. Tears rolled down her face in disappointment and heartbreak. However, she didn't notice the stairs right behind her. Paige fell backward, landing on her head, and passed out with a shocked scream. Mom was crying hysterically and Dad, face flushed with anger, slapped me across the face. I too fell heavily to the floor, dizziness overwhelming me, and I couldn't help but vomit all over. Stop pretending. Seeing me gasping for air like I was going to faint any moment, Dad only then realized the seriousness of the situation. Both Paige and I ended up in the hospital. Neither of us were in grave danger. This time was different though. Mom stayed with Paige as usual, but Dad took care of me. When I slowly opened my eyes, Dad was filled with remorse, mumbling about his mistakes. Paige, Daddy's at fault. I just lost my temper. Can you forgive me? If all it takes is a sorry for hitting someone, then what do we need the police and laws for? Besides, you didn't even say you're sorry. Dad went red with embarrassment but said no more to me. Paige, how about I peel you an apple? I wasn't interested, turning away and hiding under the covers. I wanted to sleep. Dad wanted to get upset but held it back since we were in the hospital. He just coldly said, you can forget about ever going abroad before storming out. Parents are always like this. Afraid you won't soar high enough and pushing you to try harder, but also scared you'll fly too far and forget the way home. As the days to studying abroad inched closer, my parents took turns watching over me like I was some kind of prisoner. One day, Mom came to bring me food with a fresh, red handprint on her cheek. Her eyes were bruised from lack of sleep. She laid out the simple meal with a smile. Tiffany, I don't know if you like these dishes, but there's no chili in them, so maybe try a bite. There was a pleading look in her eyes. With Paige causing constant drama the past few days, my silence made me the better one in comparison. Dad and Mom finally started noticing my good qualities. So now they wanted to offer a bit of the love I used to yearn for, in hopes I'd stay. But it's too late, I'd grown wings and was bound to fly away. Just as I took a bite, the door burst open with a bang. It was Paige, eyes bloodshot and furious. She threw herself at Mom, yelling hysterically, Auntie, you promised you'd be there for me. Why didn't you come today? You even said you'd make chili chicken and then you backtracked. It's clear that I'm the one who lost my parents. Weren't you supposed to care about me? Why did you say that my cousin is your real daughter? Were all these years of you being good to me just a lie? Paige glared at the food I was holding and charged at me, eyes full of anger. What right do you have to get uncle and aunt's love? You're the one everyone hates. Paige knocked over the food, and the sauce splashed onto my arm, instantly staining it crimson. Tiffany, I want you dead. Once you're gone, uncle and aunt will only have me. Somehow, Paige had a fruit knife in her hand. As she charged at me wildly, I quickly got off the bed, trying to run aside. The floor was slippery with the spilled food, and I fell down grimacing in pain. The knife glinted ominously as it was about to come down on me. But thankfully my dad arrived just in time, grabbing Paige by the shoulder and pulling her back. Paige fell to the ground, still cursing. Tiffany, I want you dead. Only with you gone can I be happy. Why didn't your heart condition kill you back then? No one loves you anyway. You might as well die early. No sooner had she finished saying this than the sound of a crisp slap echoed through the room. Uncle, you hit me. Paige covered her face, looking completely shocked. She then exploded in a fit of determination and ran towards the window, leaping onto the ledge. Uncle, did you forget how my mom entrusted me to you on her deathbed? They say that when a mother dies, the uncle takes over, but that's all lies. You never loved me. Given that, I might as well die and join my parents sooner. My mom helped me up from the floor, pleading with Paige not to do anything foolish. Paige, come down. Let's talk this over, okay? Seeing this, Paige cried even harder. You always said that I was more sensible than Tiffany, that you felt sorry for me, and that you wanted to be good to me. But now you're favoring Tiffany, pushing me to this point. Paige's accusations made everyone there reflect on themselves. I never expected my painful memories to be uncovered by this annoying cousin. Through tears, Mom kept saying it wasn't like that, reminding Paige that she's been with us for over 10 years. As she reached for Paige's hand, I saw a mocking smile play on Paige's lips. Fine, then stay with me forever. Paige pulled Mom down with her, But thankfully the fall wasn't from a great height, and both were taken to the emergency room with no life-threatening injuries. After they were discharged, I went to see Paige with my suitcase in tow. Even in her coma, she was still murmuring for her parents. Dad's hair turned gray overnight, and his gaze held 1,000 words as he looked at me. "Are you really leaving? When will you be back?" I replied, "We'll see." Dad gave a bitter smile. "I understand, kid. The education and medical resources abroad will suit you better. Just promise to call us often." I just said flatly, "You should focus on taking care of Paige's mental health first. We're all just victims here, right?" Deep down, they all knew I wouldn't return. Facing such suffocating parents, maybe leaving them with Paige, who craves love, to torment each other was the best outcome. On the way to the airport, the breeze swept through the falling leaves outside the window, as if joyfully seeing me off. A phrase suddenly flashed in my mind: "Wherever the wind flows freely. From now on, I'm going to seek my own happiness." The end.